Do you compare yourself to other riders? Looking at the people and the riders around you on your yard perhaps, watching them ride, thinking that they're doing so much better than you are. Or maybe you go to competitions and really struggle in the warm-up arena or the collecting ring, watching the riders and their horses around you who may or may not be doing better than you are. When we compare ourselves to other riders, the only thing it does is make ourselves feel rubbish. If this resonates with you, I want you to carry on watching, because I'm going to share with you some top tips to help you overcome comparisonitis so that you can focus on what you're doing and how your horse is going and doing more of what you love and ultimately enjoying your riding more. The first thing to remember is to ask yourself, who are you comparing yourself to? Okay, so for example, if I was driving my car, I think I'm a reasonable driver. I'm sure other people might think differently, but you know, I'm an okay driver. I'm an average driver. If I'm going to compare myself to Lewis Hamilton driving a Formula One car, is that a realistic comparison? Absolutely not. So think about who are the riders that you are comparing yourself to, and is there any kind of parity in your situations? Because if you're watching people on social media, elite riders and professional riders who ride 10, 12 horses a day, they are going to be at a different place in their riding than us amateurs, okay? And the reason for that is that it's their job. They do it day in, day out. They ride all sorts of different horses. They have fantastic trainers. They get the help they need when they need it. Don't get me wrong, it's a really tough life. But actually, there's no value in comparing ourselves to those riders. Yes, we can learn from them, absolutely. We can use the riders that we look up to and aspire to be as inspiration and motivation for our own riding journey. But if you're directly comparing yourself against them, then the only thing that's doing is going to make you feel rubbish and like you can't ride. So actually, if you are comparing yourself with riders who are at a different level of riding and competing to where you are, then actually, instead of comparing yourself with them, ask yourself, what can I learn from them? What processes do they follow? What is their mindset? How are they approaching the inevitable ups and downs of riding and owning horses? So it's more about recognizing that you're comparing yourself with these riders and flipping that around to think, what can I learn from these riders? How can I use what they do and apply it to my own situation? The next thing to think about and remember is that success is not linear. Okay, we don't go from point A, our starting point, to point B in a simple straight line. There will inevitably be challenges and ups and downs and stresses and strains and issues and challenges and problems and things we have to figure out along the way. So our road to success and achieving whatever the goals are that we've set out for ourselves as riders is not going to be smooth sailing. And the sooner we kind of accept that and stop deluding ourselves thinking it's going to be completely plain sailing and simple and smooth and amazing, the better able we are to manage the challenges that come. So stop expecting the path from where you are now to where you want to be super smooth, because I can promise you it won't be. There will be challenges, there will be things you've got to find solutions to. And when you accept that, you're way more empowered to be able to manage those challenges that come. And when you do manage those challenges that come, you become more resilient. You build your confidence because you find solutions to the problems that you face, because we all face problems, don't we? So the next thing to remember is that success, in whatever form that means to you, I'm not just talking about competitive success here, I'm talking about reaching your goals, whether that's hacking out, whether that's jumping around of show jumps, whether that is competing in online dressage, whether it's simply finding more enjoyment and joy and fulfillment in riding your horse. Whatever your goal is, your journey to get there is going to be so much more manageable and so much more fun when you focus on finding solutions to the problems when they come up. Okay, so I want you to remember that you are on your own path, okay? And you are responsible for your own path, okay? Doesn't matter what anybody else does with their horses. This is you. You are responsible for yourself and your horse. And whatever choices you have available to you, what decisions you make, that's your responsibility, okay? By all means, take advice from people you trust who are experienced and can support you and have your best interests at heart and those of your horse. Of course, take that advice into consideration. But ultimately, the only thing we can control is ourselves, okay? We cannot control how other people ride, what they think, what they believe, what they say, how they act, how they ride their horses. All of that is just noise. We cannot control other people, and we shouldn't try. What we can do is learn to manage our own responses, okay? External events will happen. External influences will have an impact on what we do. Of course they will. But part of building confidence is accepting that there's a whole great big giant list of things that we simply cannot control or influence, that are external to ourselves. We have to keep coming back to a place of reminding ourselves that the only thing we can control is ourselves. And when we manage ourselves, so we manage our internal beliefs, when we manage our thoughts and our emotions and how we act and behave and how we ride, then we're in the best possible place to manage and ride our horses effectively. And that really only happens when you let go of the distraction of wondering what other people are up to, seeing them ride, looking at what they do, thinking, oh my goodness, I could never be able to do that, and making yourself feel rubbish, okay? So stepping away from that comparison with other riders, in whatever form that takes for you, is going to allow you to focus on what is in your control. And what is in your control is you. What you choose to believe, think, feel and do. All of that is in your control. There's a saying, isn't there, that we cannot control what's around us, but we can control how we respond to things that happen. That bit, how we respond, is always in our control. So if you find yourself comparing yourself and or your horse with other riders, whether they're people at your yard, people at competitions, online, social media, come back into that place of celebrating what they've achieved and done. Fantastic, good for them. Be supportive, celebrate what they do. But don't forget that actually that doesn't affect what you do, and it shouldn't affect what you do, but it will if you allow it to. Okay, so use it as inspiration, learn from more experienced riders that are going to help you along your way, but actually focus on what is in your control, what you choose to do with your horse and how you do it. If you're someone who finds yourself comparing yourself to other riders, a really useful thing to do is to do a little bit of work around your values as a rider. What is important to you around your riding? Is it one of your values might be building a fantastic relationship with your horse. One of your values might be riding with empathy. Another value might be always assuming that your horse is trying his best for you. Another value might be around being kind to yourself, kind to your horse, and vice versa. Okay, knowing your values as a rider can really help you with comparisonitis, because it allows you to identify and provide distance from those people that you are comparing yourself to. You might see somebody doing something that you would really dearly love to do, and that can drive you. You could almost think, well, if they can do that, I can also learn to do that. That's kind of a growth mindset approach to comparisonitis. You might also think, well, what can I learn from that rider? How have they got to that point? What have they done physically? How have they improved their riding, their balance, their security, their application of the aids? What do they do in their mind to give them the confidence to do that thing, whatever it might be? But in using that, you then compare that with your own values as a rider. Is that thing that that rider has just done, is that really important to you? Because if it is, use what they've done as inspiration. If it's not, enjoy it, celebrate it, be supportive, and then move on to what is important to you. Just because somebody else has jumped a 1.20 metre course and you are currently building your confidence jumping at 50 centimetres, that can provide inspiration, that can show you some different techniques that that rider has and ways of riding to achieve that clear round at 120 that you can apply to your level when you're jumping a 50 centimetre course, for example. But you might watch that rider jumping a 1.20 metre and go, oh, that was amazing, fantastic. I have no desire to do it because that is not important to me. Fantastic. That is great. You don't need to compare yourself to that rider. You don't need to beat yourself up because you're not jumping 1.20 metre yet if that's not important to you. So keep in mind, when you notice that you are comparing yourself to other riders, ask yourself, what are my values around riding? What are my goals? What am I trying to achieve? And is this going to help me, or is this distracting me from what my goals are as a rider for me and my horse? So the last thing around comparisonitis, or comparing yourself to other riders and horses. Remember, your horse does not know what they should or shouldn't be doing. The pressure, the expectations that we put on ourselves as riders don't mean anything to the horse, okay? They don't know that they have the ability to jump at a certain height, or to do a particular dressage test, or to do a particular activity or exercise. They have no expectations around riding. They have no idea what you think or other people think they should or shouldn't be doing. Horses don't care. Horses love their work. They love having a relationship with their human and their family, and that's way more important to them. And if you're watching this, I know that if you've watched it this far, that your horse means everything to you, and I can promise you, you mean everything to your horse. They don't care whether they are out jumping or doing dressage or achieving fantastic things or not. What they do care is that their needs are met. What they do care is that they're handled and managed with love and care. What they do care about is that things are explained in a way that they understand, and they are able to communicate with their human in a really positive, constructive way, and that they are safe, okay? Let go of any notion of letting your horse down. You're not, I promise you that, because your horse doesn't think that, and neither do I. So just, if you find yourself comparing yourself to other riders, remember, your horse doesn't do that. Your horse doesn't know. Your horse, as long as he's managed and ridden with care and love and empathy and clarity around what you would like him to do or not do, great. Focus on building your relationship with your horse. Decide on what is important to you and what your goals are as a horse rider and owner, and focus on what you can do. Use other people for inspiration by all means, and to show you what's possible. But comparison, waste of energy, waste of time, does nothing but make you feel a little bit rubbish. And to move out of it, come back in your lane. Focus on your next step, so that you can continue to build a more positive, confident mindset around riding and have the best fun with your horse. So I'd love to hear if you've found that helpful and useful. Do let me know in the comments below this video. And of course, if you have any questions, then please do ask as well. I'd be delighted to help if I can. If you look below this video, you will find the description, and you'll find a link to my free resource where you can take the next steps towards building a more positive, confident, calm, resilient mindset around riding, so that you and your horse can have way more fun together. And of course, don't forget to click subscribe, and I'll be updating this channel, so please do keep in touch. And of course, if there is something that you would like help with around your mindset and your confidence when riding, please do let me know in the comments. I would love to hear from you. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Bye.